Exercise is hard. It's hard to get it done, right? It's difficult to be consistent about it. We are talking today about how you can make it happen without relying on motivation.
You're listening to the Begin Within Health Show with Nate Slager. For more, go to beginwithin.fit/podcast, or to enroll right now in our flagship coaching program, go to beginwithin.fit/coaching.
Right, my guest today is Devan Gonzalez. He is a girl dad, a husband. He's been in the fitness industry for over 15 years, and he is the founder and co-owner of Strive 11 Fitness. He's also the host of the Mindset Cafe podcast. Go check that out, the Mindset Cafe podcast, and he's a best-selling author of the book Money, Muscle, Mindset. Devan Gonzalez is here with me. And what are we talking about? Well, we are talking about motivation. We're talking about discipline. We're talking about how to trick your brain into getting your workouts done and how to set up your environment, including the people that are around you, for success in working towards your health goals. Sound good? It is. Believe me. Here's my interview with Devan.
I started off in martial arts, and that was because I was the oldest of, three boys in my family. And the middle brother essentially was getting into martial arts, and my parents convinced me that I had to be the bigger, older brother and show him the way and so forth. So I kind of got guilted into it.
Okay.
But the aspect of martial arts and, being physically fit, it did also teach me a lot about mindset because I was older than a lot of the kids, but younger than the older kids, like for the class structures. But
Okay.
you naturally get moved up and so I was the smallest kid in the in the elderly kid class, right? And
Okay.
so every time we were sparring, I just got, beat up essentially. And then and I mean, it was fine, but one of my coaches, started giving me private lessons, and he was kind of all of a sudden had to sit down with me. He was like, "Look, you know how to fight." He was like, so if you just put your hands up and you're getting beat up, he's like, what's gonna happen differently if you throw a punch? What, you miss and you still get beat up? You like, where's the thought process getting lost for you?" And I was like, man, sounds so simple, but I was like, okay, well, it hurts either way. Might as well, try to get a couple punches in. And then all of a sudden, during one of the testings, I was probably, I want to say 12, maybe 11 at the time. And I was sparring a kid that was, 14, 15. And
Okay.
and he was already a black belt, and I was upper in the colors of belts, but I just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go swinging for the fences. What's the worst that's gonna happen? I get knocked out. It's already happened before. Like, at least I'll, hopefully get a punch in or two. And lo and behold, I actually held my own for the whole fight. And then it all of a sudden like clicked. It was like the only thing that was stopping me was me. Right. And
Okay.
so that going into when I became a personal trainer, because I was a martial arts instructor after I got my black belt, from the age of 13, upwards of, 18. And then going to college, the schedule didn't really line up. And so I needed a college job. And personal training was along the lines of what I liked, which was, working people out and so forth. Little did I know that that was when I started like finding my calling as well, because I thought it was just a college job, but I was getting almost like my cup was being filled by seeing my clients see results, see the pride that they're, building within themselves, and then the self-confidence and
Mhm.
the aspect of like mindset. Really, from that one time my coach pulled me aside, and it clicked for me. It was seeing my clients, talk about themselves and talk about their situations, and realizing that the only thing that was stopping them was them, right? And so
Mhm.
trying to learn more about psychology and shifting perspectives and all that kind of stuff just really intrigued me. And so I realized that personal training wasn't just about fitness, right? It was the whole aspect about mental health and so forth as well. And my big thing about mental health comes a lot from mindset, right? It's like you can read a book and it might not click for you, but if you take that same message and you reframe it, a little bit and relate it to the person, it'll click, right? And just giving them a different perspective on the situation. And that was a door open for me. And I realized, like, I was like, I love doing this. Like, it doesn't feel, even though I'm pulling late, all-nighters, studying for college and still working, like, it didn't feel like work when I was actually at the gym. So I just kind of dug more into it and went from there.
Nice, man. That's awesome. So you were seeing that lesson you learned when you were 11, 12 about not holding yourself back. You were kind of seeing that play out with your clients in the struggles or the fighting that they were doing with whatever health and fitness goals that they were working on.
Exactly. Like for me, it was physically getting beat up, but for them, it was life beating them up, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like reframing it and being like, well, look, life's already beating you up. What's the worst that's going to happen if you actually try to work out and you actually try to eat clean and it doesn't work out? You're going to be right where you're at. Well, if you don't do anything, you're still going to be right here. So why not try?
Oh, yeah. No, I like that. Thanks for making that connection because that's for them. That was the like go ahead and swing, right? Like
Hmm.
just see what happens. And what for you? I mean, I know you've been through this process now. I can't imagine hundreds, probably thousands of times helping people. Um, what happens next for them once they kind of start swinging, or just take a stab at it. Just try it. What's the worst that can happen? Like what do you see typically play out for your clients?
Honestly, it's that initial like result that they get, and it's that light bulb moment. Like, oh man, right? All of a sudden I did lose 5 pounds, or all of a sudden I do see a little bit of muscle forming. And then naturally what happens isn't you wanting to degress what you're doing, you want to start diving in more. So all
Mm,
of a sudden those clients are texting me questions like, hey, is brown rice or white rice better to eat? And it's like, a month ago you were saying like you shouldn't eat any rice, right? Because you thought
yeah.
carbs were bad, right? So it's usually clients start to dive in more because you want more of the result.
Yeah. Nice. Good. So like get a little taste
Hmm.
of results. Feel a little maybe more like I have some control over this process, right? It's not just me getting beat up. If I do this or that, I I'm moving forward. I'm making some progress here, and I feel like I have now some control over the situation, whereas before it was just me getting pounded.
Oh, 100%. It's that realization that you, the rewards you get are from the results from the work that you put in. If you don't put
Hmm.
any work in, well, then you're not going to get any results. You can sit there, you can have a dream and you can have a goal, but the difference between a dream and a goal is something that's written down, something that you're actually taking steps towards. A dream is just something that's in your head and always stays there.
Nice. Yeah. And then, of course we talk about consistency and how important that is. And I know that you have done a lot of work on helping people understand the difference between motivation and discipline in order to
Mhm.
help them to be consistent. Um, could you talk a little bit about that? Just what the difference is between those two? And I know that'll lead us somewhere pretty interesting. So could you talk a little bit about the difference between the two?
Yeah, definitely. People think that, you need to be motivated to accomplish success in anything, right? And that's not the truth, right? Motivation is fleeting. It comes, it goes. You watch a David Goggins video, now you feel like running. Then all of a sudden an hour passes and you're like, you know what? I got a lot of things to do today. And so all of a sudden you're not as motivated, right? And so the the misbelief is thinking that you need to be motivated. In reality, you just need to be disciplined. If you have a goal and it truly is a goal, right, of yours, why is that your goal? Right? What is it going to do for your life if you are able to achieve this goal? And on the flip side of that, what will it do to your life if you don't achieve this goal? Right? And that's your motivation right there. I don't care if you had a long day, neither should you, because your results don't care, right? And so discipline is a skill that's built over time. Every day that you do what you need to do, even though you don't feel like doing it, you're stacking a brick in the wall of your discipline.
Nice, nice. And I think, well, maybe someone listening conceptually, like I get it. That sounds great, Devin. Man, I love it. What about the day when? I'm laying in bed and there's like not a bone in my body that wants to do this. What I guess I'm just curious, pick your brain. Like, what would you recommend if it was me? Of course, that never happens to me, right? Like, I'm always like fired up. I want to work out every single day, all the time, and I want to eat my veggies and do all that stuff. But just imagine I didn't, right? What what would you recommend for me on those days? And maybe for someone starting out, there's more days where they're feeling that way than they're feeling pumped up. What do you do in those moments?
Well, first off, like you have to realize that you're not alone, right? I own a gym. I own a gym franchise, right? And I don't feel like working out every single day, right? So it's you're not alone in this at all. And what I would say is, even though you don't feel like doing it, it's easy to say just go do it, right? And so you have to almost trick yourself or lie to yourself to get yourself to be able to do it. And what I mean by that is instead of telling yourself, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour, right? Well, maybe you just tell yourself you're going to do a little home workout, right? Can you just do 10 push-ups, right? Or 10 squats, right? Or if you were going to do cardio today, instead of running your 3 miles, why don't you just go walk for a mile? Why don't you just go walk for 10 minutes? And the hardest part most times is just getting started, right? Just driving to the gym, right? That's usually the hardest part. Once you walk in, you're like, man, I don't really want to be here right now. You do your first set, and then you're like, all right, well, that was pretty light. Let me go up a little bit. And then you do another set. And now you're like, oh man, actually, I haven't done this exercise. And then all of a sudden you get in the rhythm of things. And sometimes it's just the hardest part of just getting going. So if you can trick your brain into, because your subconscious doesn't know what's true and what's a lie, right? So if you lie to yourself and you tell yourself, I'm just going to do 10 push-ups right now, right? And then you do it, and then you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad. Can you do 10 more? Awesome,
Mhm.
just do 10 more. All right,
Nice,
can you do that? You just break up segment, in segments, and then all of a sudden, little do you know, you just hit a 30-minute workout at least.
nice. That's awesome. As you were talking, I was thinking just for a moment, I was like, discipline, I guess in our context here is, getting yourself to do even just something as small as it is that might be different than what you're inclined to do in the moment, right? Like
Hmm.
it doesn't, you want to stay in bed. It's so warm and it's so nice and it's so cozy. But if you could just do one tiny little thing different than that inclination, that's maybe in the other direction that the person you want to be is going to end up going. Just do that one little thing in the other direction. That's discipline. Do you
Yeah,
feel like that's true?
no, it's definitely true, and it
Yeah.
gets easier, right? Just like anything, over time, your discipline becomes stronger, which makes the choices a lot easier. It gets easier to get out of bed. Not saying that it's
Mhm.
going to always be easy, but it's definitely easier than when you first start, right? So it's one of those things where you have to just get started and realize over time your body starts to adapt. Your body starts to think that this is the new norm. So you'll start waking up before your alarm clock even goes off because your body just gets into a rhythm of it.
Nice, nice. And I knew I threw that out there, the laying in bed thing. That was, that's something for me sometimes. What are some of the other barriers that you see, whether they're mental or like a physical situation, circumstances in life? Like, what are some of the things that you see holding people back that they're working to kind of take that little step in the other direction away from?
I would say social circles, right?
Mm,
Because we have our friends that we've had for years, right? And sometimes you outgrow friends. Not saying you have to lose friends, but sometimes you outgrow friends. And once you start, let's say, becoming more healthy, well, the friends that, want to go out and drink and party and, just go out to eat all the time, like they're not going to be aligning with what you're doing. So naturally, it's going to be hard, but you
mm,
may not go out as many times with them, right? But when you're going to the gym and you're, going to do these things that align with your goals, you're going to start meeting other people too. So now you'll have two different kind of friend groups, right? And that's okay, right? You don't have to just because you had friends, best friend at one time doesn't mean that to be your best friend for life in every situation. You could have, great friends in different situations. I have business friends, I have fitness friends, I have regular friends, across the board. But realizing that sometimes to make sure that you align with your goal, if your social circles aren't aligning with it, then maybe you just need to take a step back and analyze, do I want to hang out with these people or do I want my goal? And if I do hang out with these people, like, am I going to have enough discipline not to eat, you know, the
Mhm.
chocolate cake at the end of the dinner? Can I
Yeah.
just go out and have this meal? Like, if I know, let's say, I'll say, because my wife loves Cheesecake Factory. If I know I'm going to go to a Cheesecake Factory and I can factor that into my day, I'll just eat accordingly throughout the day so that I can have what I want and then just not have, you know, anything above and beyond. Right. So you can adapt as you go. I think that's one of the biggest skills to learn is being adaptable. You make a mistake, it's okay. The world didn't end. You know, you had a cheat meal for breakfast, that's fine. The day didn't isn't over yet. Just adjust accordingly and fix the rest of the day.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So if you notice that you're in situations where you're oftentimes getting pulled in a different direction than where your healthy self would want to go. What I'm hearing from you here is realize that it might not be the cheesecake or it might not be the alcohol, it might not be the whatever. It might actually be the bigger picture of like who am I with?
Hmm.
What group is with me? And so I think for listening to you as an expert is just saying, hey, realize the influence that other people might be having on you, and that discipline becomes a lot easier when you're maybe in an environment away from that.
Right.
Um, in those different circumstances, right?
Right.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I would have to agree. I think the influence of others on us, we want to be invincible to it, right? Where we want to think that we are, but like we're just human. Like we're impressionable. The people around us matter, right?
Hmm. No, definitely. And you are the like, if you hang out with, you know, your group of five, right, you are going to be the sixth, right? And so it's, if you're trying to level up in any area of life, well, try to surround yourself with people like that and hang out with them more because naturally you're going to start to do the things that they do and you will level up as a result.
Wow. Yeah. Nice. I like that. And yeah, and I kind of started, we went down this kind of path of what are some of the big barriers that you see holding people back, or I don't know if that was exactly how I phrased it, right? It was what are the things that people overcome or need to overcome in order to help with their discipline? Social circles was one. Are there others like second place, third place that come to mind?
I would say time management, right?
Oh,
You know,
wow.
you see people that are running businesses and they're still fit and you're like, man, I just don't have enough hours in the day. I guarantee if we looked at your calendar, we could find the hours of you scrolling, we could find the hours of you, you know, flipping through Netflix, whatever the case may be. But it's like, do you have 30 minutes, right? Do you have 30 minutes to get a workout in? You don't have to work out an hour every single day. It's like sometimes 30 minutes is better than 0 minutes.
Hmm.
So realizing that you can be adaptable, but plan ahead, right? If you know that you're going to have a busy day, make sure you meal prep or, you know, plan out what you're going to eat. If you're going to go out to a restaurant, again, plan that out so that you already know what you're going to eat. You can eat accordingly for the day. But then plan when you're going to get your workout in and treat it like any other meeting, right? If you have an important work meeting, you probably wouldn't let things overcome that. So why would you let them overcome the one of the most important meetings, and that's with yourself?
Hmm. Nice, nice, man. So planning, time management, that's awesome. Good. I'm smiling so much here because I'm like, man, I think we're having the same conversations with people, which is great. It makes me feel good. I'm like, all right, I got Devin Gonzalez here, and I'm on the same page in so many areas with you, which makes me feel good. Um, any as far as discipline goes, any parting advice or um anything else powerful in this area that we didn't hit on that you could share that could help us?
I would say in fitness and in life, right? If you have a dream, if you have a goal, right? If you have your dream body, right? If you see other people with it, that's your testimonial that it's possible, right?
Mm.
And I will say you are not special. What I mean by that is you are not special for it to be a reality for other people and work for everyone else on earth and not for it to be a reality for you. If you are willing to sacrifice and put the work in, it is just as accessible to you. to make sure that you truly want it and do the work that you need for it. Because again, you're not special for it to not work for you.
Nice. Yeah. It's kind of hard to say, right? You're not special. But man, I think that is a powerful thought. If someone else has it, they got it somehow, and you're not so special that you can't do it as
Hmm.
well. Wow. I like that. I like that a lot. What would be the best place for someone to connect with you, to follow you, to get into your world from here?
I'd probably say like Instagram is probably the place that I read my DMs and all that kind of stuff. So Instagram is just Devin.Gonzalez.
Devin got dot Gonzalez over on Instagram. Awesome. Bro, thanks so much for doing this. Thanks for being here on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. I told you it was great, right? Packs a punch, doesn't he? What a great interview. I'm excited. I am so grateful to have that conversation. You know, if you've been here for a little while listening to the Begin Within Health show, that what he said, just music to my ears. Absolutely loved it. So make sure you connect with him over on Instagram or check out his book, Money, Muscle, Mindset. Thanks a lot, Devin, for being here with us. All right, quick check in, quick opportunity for reflection and some action steps. How are you doing? How are you doing when it comes to designing your environment for success in working toward your health goals? Are you surrounding yourself with people that are the type of person you want to be? Are they disciplined people? Are they encouraging you? Remember, you're the average of your five closest friends. If you want to be more disciplined, hang out with people like that. Hang out with people that are like the future you, the way that you want to be. And it's going to happen. It is going to happen. Absolutely. So interesting opportunity to reflect there, right? And then make some adjustments. And of course, there are people in our lives, they might not be so disciplined, and we can't choose, right? We are locked in with them. And of course, we all go through ups and downs. And if they're going through a down right now, doesn't mean that we're going to overhaul our entire life. But where you can make choices, colleagues, friends, etc. What are we doing? Are we with the people we want to be like? What a great question, right? And then what adjustments might I make in that area in order to keep moving in the direction that I want? How about that idea as well of treating your fitness like a meeting? You wouldn't cancel on your boss. Why are we canceling on our health? Realize that just whatever it is, whatever time you have to meet with yourself for fitness, for health, put it in the calendar, stick to it, schedule it like it is one of your most important meetings because actually it is, right? We know that logically, but we push it out for other things. So stick to that meeting, even if it's 5 minutes. Take a walk, sit and breathe, do something that is going to help you to improve your health today. Start small, and you're going to build more confidence in your ability to keep that appointment when you just start doing it. Make it small, make it easy, but stick to it. Consistency is the thing that is most important. And then, along with that, how about this? Trick your brain. Don't think about the hour-long workout, the 45-minute workout, whatever it is. Just start with a few minutes. Start the workout. 10 minutes, the first 10 reps. Once you start, there's going to be some momentum. And that goes for today's workout, but it also goes for the consistency over time, right? So just start 1 day, 2 days, each for 5 minutes, 3 days for 5 minutes. There's some momentum that is going to build. I'm confident that it's going to work for you. I've seen it work many, many times. Of course, you've got another expert here. Devan Gonzalez is saying it works too. So why not give it a try? Quit the all or nothing mindset. Be consistent. Stick to what you can stick to right now and build from there. All right, friends, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for keeping the Begin Within Health Show in the top 5% of all podcasts. I love to say it, but you are the one and only person that's put it there. Each one of you that's listening, I appreciate you so much for doing that, for listening, for supporting the show, for uh, commenting, for rating, reviewing the show. However, you can interact with it on whatever platform that you are watching or listening on, helps this show to get in front of other people. You probably know how the algorithms work by now, right? The more people that listen, the more people that are going to get shown the show. The more people that comment, that like, that rate and review, the more people that aren't listening that are going to get shown the show when they um, search and when they're looking over in their preview bar, right? That's how this works. So the more you can engage and interact, I appreciate it so much. But if you could make sure that you follow the show and rate and review it, it would mean so much to me, not just to keep it in the top 5% of all podcasts, but maybe even grow. Awesome. Thanks so much for being here with me. Until we talk again, keep taking good care of yourself.